Hi everyone, and welcome back to my creative channel where once a month I showcase a fun and inspiring laser project that you can sink your teeth into. And this week I've received the xTool S1 laser engraver and cutter, but I'm not going to do an in-depth review or setup. There are so many great and informative tutorials on YouTube for you to view, so check those out. I'm going to show you how easy and quick the S1 is to set up, and in less than half an hour it's ready for creative fun lasering. So I've set up the S1 all by myself. I've not asked anyone to help, and hopefully this will inspire you if you're thinking of purchasing a laser machine yourself. I'll leave the link in the description for you if you wish to purchase, and currently xTool is offering a trade-in program for a new xTool machine. Any user with a laser machine or vinyl cutting machine from Cricut, Brother, Silhouette, etc. can join the trade-in program and save money. To enter, all you need to do is fill out the form in the link provided and provide proof of purchase of your old machine. Any brand, no returns needed. This offer is applicable worldwide. So I'm going to show you a quick setup, step by step, then I'm going to show you a couple of fun projects you can make with the S1. But if you're not interested in how to set up the S1 and you prefer to dive straight into the creative project, just skip to chapter 2. Installation is really easy. First you'll need to screw in the air vent that comes with the machine. I have a Velux window in my studio, so the end of this tube goes out the window to extract the air. And the S1 comes with some really handy little toolbox with everything you'll need to attach these screws. First, remove the protective panel with the screwdriver provided. Then attach the airflow pipe, again with the same screws that you've just taken off. Now onto the back of the machine. In the toolbox is a USB looking device, and you just need to add this to the USB slot. In the same box is the laser head attachment, and this is needed to mark and measure the distance of all materials. This is magnetic and it clips onto the right hand side of the laser head. Next, you will need to remove the screws that block the laser slider from moving around in transportation. Using the screwdriver provided, unscrew these screws and keep these in the toolbox in case you may need to transport your laser machine in the future. Once this is done, you'll be able to pull the slider and attach the laser head, and on the laser head are two cables. Plug these into the correct slots and the laser head is done. And if you need to change the laser head to the 40-watt version or the IR version, just follow the same steps. Again, all the screws that you'll need for this step is included in the little toolbox. And then the final last steps is to attach the air assist to the back of the machine using the cables provided, and you're just going to be using the top row of slots to attach the cable to both the S1 and the air assist. And then you'll need to add the air assist pipe. I call it an air assist pipe. Again, using the slots on the top row, attach this to both the S1 and the air assist, and then that's it. The air assist also has an auto mode, which is what I mostly use, or you can manually increase the speed of the fan with the dials. And if you ever need to change the filter in the future, the kit comes complete with 2 extra filters, and to replace these, just open the flap at the back of the air assist and you can change the filters out. Now you can finally add the bundled honeycomb base riser to the base of the S1. It also is bundled with these magnetic holders that just clip the materials into place for the honeycomb. turn the emergency stop button to the right to release it, and then you can switch it on at the back and we're ready to go. That was really easy to do. I think it took me less than 30 minutes to set up from start to finish. And very importantly, don't forget to put the air assist hose out the window. So I'm going to start off with some 3mm plywood. This is just a scrap piece, and most importantly is me showing you how to frame using the framing crosshairs. What you'll need to do is just measure the distance first. So you're going to click on the little button on the right, which will then push down on the material, swivel to the right, push itself down, and the measurement is done. And now we're going to mark the space on every material that you'll need, and this is really easy to do. The S1 doesn't come with an integrated camera, and I was worried about this. The M1 does have one, and I thought I might have little problems trying to get used to it, but honestly I really didn't. To mark the areas to cut or engrave, just position the crosshairs on all corners, followed by pressing the blue button on the front of the machine. And then once you've done this, the working area will appear in Creative Space. So for this first test, I'm going to engrave. I'm using the following settings: 3mm plywood. I'm using a JPEG image with a power of 40, a speed of 120 and 1 pass. And as this is a 20 watt and my M1 was a 5 watt, this of course engraves much faster. And now onto laser cutting wood. I'm going to be using 3mm pine plywood, and again I've marked it. I haven't shown it here, but I've marked it, and I am going to cut out a really cute little flower coaster. And this particular piece is very intricate and very fine, and I was really pleased with how it cut. So that's an example on plywood. And now I'm going to attempt to laser cut acrylic, and there is a really vast choice of acrylic available on the xTool website. This is where I've got these 3 green, really bright green acrylic sheets from, and I am going to do some plant markers. So inside the machine it goes. I am once again going to frame and mark. And so here it is, just measuring the thickness of the material. And now I'm going to mark, and you really only need to mark the top right and bottom left, although I learnt that a little bit later. So what I'm doing here is each time I am pushing the slider to each corner, I press the little blue button on the bottom right of the machine. And as I said, I really only needed to do the top left and the bottom right. Use the following settings for a successful cut. To cut 3mm acrylic on the S1, I needed to lower the speed and increase the passes to 2. Another tip I can give you is just to remove the protective film before cutting. This makes it much easier to remove once cut, especially for complicated designs. And here they are, and I just love the way they've turned out. So this S1 cut through 3mm acrylic with no problems, and I have 2 whole sheets left and lots of ideas. So look out for more projects using laser cut acrylic in upcoming tutorials. And now for my favorite project so far, using veneer plywood that I've got from xTool's website. This is 1/8 of an inch plywood veneered sheets trial kit with 3 pieces each of birch, red oak, walnut, cherry wood, and my absolute favorite, Bubinga veneer plywood. Never heard of it, but it's absolutely my favorite. I love the sheen on it. I love the wood grain on it. It looks stunning and exotic. And I have had the most fun making these boxes that look like solid wood when they're constructed. This is such a great choice of woods to experiment with, and I loved it so much that I made 3 boxes really easily with the S1. In fact, I made all 3 in just one day. And the best thing is no glue up. If you make sure that the joints and slots are 3mm, you'll get a nice tight joint that just needs a little light hammering in. And to ensure that all the intricate cuts cut through properly, I used the following settings. So I selected the 3mm walnut plywood as the material. This is a vector file with a power of 100, a speed of 8 and just 1 pass. And just look at this Bobinga wood, I think it's called. It's gorgeous. It's got the most pretty veining on it, and it was so smooth and buttery. I just loved it. So all I needed to do was just lightly push out these little slots and then hammer them together very lightly, followed by a quick sand, some wax polish, and it was done. And this is box number 2 with a very intricate design that cut out perfectly. So this box is slightly larger with a deeper insert, and I think this is red oak. Whatever it is, with just a little wood wax, it looked gorgeous. So I am really impressed with the quality of these veneers. They are so smooth to the touch that even before a light sanding, just to get rid of a few laser marks on the edges, I think it's probably already been fine sanded before boxing. It makes a big difference to the look and feel of these gorgeous boxes. So I'm really glad I ordered them. And finally, the last box, just because I honestly couldn't stop making these. So this is a box with dividers, once again in red oak. And now that I've finished making boxes, we can move on to the next project. And now for the next project, I am going to make my own laser engraved and cut rubber stamp using a kit, again from xTool's website. And I do advise you to go and visit. There's lots of ideas for projects, so go check out their website and I'll leave the link in the description for you. So this kit comes complete with ink, stamp blocks and 3M tape, and 2 sheets of rubber, one in grey, one in orange, and I'm going to use the orange one today. So let's get started. So I'm just going to start by inserting the rubber sheet in the S1, and I like to butt it up to the lower edge where the ruler is, and just to keep my material level. And then I place it to the left hand side at about 1.5 inches from the left. So in Creative Space, I've prepared my file. My stamp will be my name in some sort of a swooshy font. So the blue layer is the fill engrave that will be removed by the laser, and the red layer is just going to cut the outline out. And then for the engrave setting, I needed a power of 100, speed of 70 and 3 passes for a nice deep emboss. And to cut the outline out, I used a power of 100, a speed of 3 and 2 passes on the cut, and this cut perfectly. So if you're using wording, don't forget to mirror the text by flipping it horizontally. And then next, just used some alcohol to rub off the dust from the rubber. And then I'm going to use an acrylic block to stick the stamp down onto with a little glue. And it's time to test my new stamp out. And one thing I've learned about stamping, it's a bit like making pancakes. The first one is never good, but the others are perfect. And it's the same for stamping. You'll find the right pressure eventually, and then it's all good from there. So the kit comes with the 2 large rubber mats. I'm really not sure what the difference is of colours, probably just aesthetic. And as a bonus, and because I had some wood left over, I made this really cute spring themed phone stand, and I've painted it with a little mica and some satin varnish mixed together. And it turned out to be useful in my studio to prop up my phone. And now for the final project, I am going to create an AI generated artwork that I'm going to engrave onto basswood. And for this, I'm going to use the AI generator inside the free xTool Creative Space software that you can download from their website. So this is the new 2.0 version with lots of cool features and upgrades. So to start with, I'm going to click on AI. I'm going to type in 3 or 4 keywords, and then I'm going to generate it. And once I've chosen my design, I am then just going to crop the image to the size of my basswood panel. I'm going to click on the tick, then click on Save. And then I am going to go up to Material Setting and choose 3mm basswood. And for the engraving, I am going to use the xTool's reference guide, which is a power of 40, speed of 120, and grayscale. And I'm just going to keep the settings as they are. And then I'm going to process. And with this new 2.0 version, it does this really cool feature where you can see the preview of how the laser will engrave. It's just a little fun. Once you've done that, you can click on Start and it will start engraving. So, as this was a large image lasered onto the plywood, as you can imagine, it took a while to engrave, almost 40 minutes. But I just left it running next to me whilst I created some other designs for future projects, and I've obviously sped this up for viewing comfort, but I absolutely loved the final result. So I decided that this cute little AI engraved artwork would look great in a fancy blingy frame, so I pulled one out from my hoard of picture frames and I fitted it in. And I could always paint it, and maybe I will. And if I do, I'll post it on Instagram for you. So that's my presentation on the xTool S1 laser printer, the 20-watt version, and personally for my purposes the 20-watt is more than enough for me. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments section under this video, and I will see you all for another xTool tutorial next month. Have a lovely day everyone, and see you soon. Bye!